Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be hopping into map number three, pardon me, momentarily between SG-1 and MISFITS. We've had a few 2-0s today, but this is going all the way, and we've seen the first competitive use in this tournament of Ana.
And maybe a bit hit or miss. Dorado worked out pretty well, and you weren't
so.
super convinced on the second map.
It's a little bit more tricky, isn't it? Because understanding how good an Ana is as a support hero, I mean, with Mercy, you can very, very physically see 5 players revive. With Lucio, you can see the bars that is their health and how much they're actually absorbing. With Ana, it's a little bit more passive, a little bit more behind the scenes, and it could well be that, you know, there's a fantastic play that we're only registering as good, or there's a good play that might not even register at all. Right. So we're still getting used to that a little bit as a community, but so far, I think there were a number of situations on Hollywood where I thought, this is an interesting play by Ana here. Should we be looking at having Lucio? Would having Lucio as a constant healing or an additional speed boost have helped the team more than what Ana was doing at that moment in time? And I caught myself saying yes once or twice.
And there are a lot of spots perhaps that they were looking for that maybe they just never got on the initial attack. And also it does spring to mind, you know, you get the flexibility to change at some point. Yes. Like you can say, okay, we decided that Lucio is better for the speed boost combo, just into that first point. Maybe Ana's better on the second point. And there's lots of again, like it's such a small sample size. There's so much to be worked out. And also, I mean, the issue is always, you know, when things come into the metagame, a team starts doing something, then there is a response from another team. Yep. It's the first time teams are probably seeing Ana too much in competitive play, so we have to also to you know, factor in that there may be a response that could shut it down in the future.
And a lot of the heroes that are changing right now are the sort of flex roles and the DPSs. So taking a look at swapping heroes out for Reapers coming in on specific points and things like that, where we're not really seeing much in the way of changing support players. We haven't seen a single Zenyatta being switched off. Again, not something that we're particularly surprised about. I don't remember when we saw McCree being switched off, for example, but I'm sure I think it happened once. But generally speaking, it's a mainstay part of the composition. Zarya has been relatively mainstay, but has also been situational in some cases. I think situationally she moves off as well. But generally speaking, the team comps have been relatively stable up to this point.
Yeah, McCree is like just such a mainstay because he. That primary fire, if you know nothing else, you know, is always going to be able to do damage actually. And I thought he would get nerfed actually a little bit more, but of course his dynamic has been shifted, has been changed a little bit. But as you can see, we're getting a bit of a fly through. All those free cams floating around King's Row.
Fake windows, man.
Oh yeah, the fake windows.
Strange, like cue the X-Files.
Yeah, that was
what is going on here.
I saw that video. That was amazing.
It's creepy. I think the dystopian London future is one where things look so bleak we have to paint walls to look like windows. We can't actually afford to have them fitted. Super sad, man. So we're going to have MISFITS defending first by the looks of things. They are the blue team. You see sat on top of the point, and SG-1 are going to be attacking. We begin with the defense of Objective A before the payload actually pops out. And a crucial note, Himsy is out on Reaper, and Nevix still on Ana. We've got Ana 3 games in a row.
Maybe he knows something we do not. Either way, MISFITS looking to defend here as Bush comes in. And all just sitting on the point, and this was something that was quite successful for them in the, well, actually not so successful for them previously, my mistake, the other team in fact, as we will see now. Push coming in, they've made their way to the initial statue. Now this comes the blue rectangle. In goes Zarya, and so far so good charge coming in actually. Nice positioning as they fight over for the point. It's not looking too bad actually.
Well, Mafu and Fraggy both went down very, very quickly there. And you could see them going in quickly because they had that speed boost from Lucio. But ultimately, the tanks died before the rest of the team could get picked up. That said, SG-1 will take a very, very quick amount of time to get back to the point, whereas MISFITS have to run all the way back from basically where the payload finishes.
There you go, we've got that push coming back in right now, and we get the Earthshadow not really doing all that much actually for Reinhardt, but Skipjack just swiping away with the hammer and doing a lot of work right now. Took Jari in the back, but I think Zarya's too long going to be standing vertically at least.
Yep, and that was actually a really good example of a good ultimate from Nevix, by the way. That team fight was very difficult for Misfits to get any healing from Lucio, for example, because Nevix popped the ultimate. That meant that Sata, Himsy, and Fraggy went down quite quickly indeed, and SG-1 are going to have to reset and go at this again.
And here they are, they're trying to make their way in. They're all in position around the statue, looking to get themselves in there. Of course, just got to make sure there's full health on the shield of Reinhardt, and everyone's in position. Maybe get some distraction from the flanking player as the push now comes in. SG-1 looking to try to break this. Transcendence coming down. It's going to be a good one as we see Himsy trying to push back onto the DPSs and the Ana in the back right there. Looking quite successful as well.
Yep, Kainel with the Transcendence being very, very effective for the team, allowing them to push very, very deep, actually. But Martha and Sata both going down in quick succession, and not having that heal is going to hurt them because Kainel is down as well. That is going to allow Misfits to take this fight. There's 1 minute and 33 seconds left for them to take this first point. And at the moment, they now have reason to be a little bit worried.
Yeah, Misfits holding on, which is something that you could not say about their last map. And here we go, we get the self-destruct going in there from D.Va as Misfits will be challenged on the point. Where is Himsy here, dropping in from above with Genji. He's got the ult, he's got the slashes there, just cutting through Misfits at the moment. Misfits having quite some trouble holding on as Himsy takes down 3 players in a row. And Mafu also key there with a lot of charge doing all the damage. And things are looking much, much better here for SG-1.
Yep, they're doing a much better job this time around, and they're going to have to. There's less than 1 minute left to go, but they will successfully take it. That took them 3 minutes and 10 seconds to grab the first point, though. It's going to be very far from their first attack, but they will be able to make their way down the winding streets of King's Row. Let's see how far the defense are going to be pushing out. I wonder if SG-1 want to be very aggressive, or if they're happy to sit back close to the entrance of the third point.
Looks like they do have some space to work with, actually, as it did seem like SG-1 were quite slow in pushing forwards, but they decided not to try to take a too forward a stance. This is going to be forward enough, and you can see the push is finally coming in now, and the Reinhardt's shields will be clashing. The Earth Shadow used there, and to try to hold this point, SG-1 looking to go for it.
And I actually really like that, by the way, because Earth Shadow's used, and then basically they pick off Himsy and then move back. Why are they moving back? They're saying you can't push with only 5, you're waiting for your 6th player, but Misfits here are, well, they're a little, to be honest, they're falling down a little bit because SG-1 unexpectedly did actually go through without Himsy there, using Transcendence as a bit of a barrier, and that allowed them to move on through.
So smooth sailing for the time being now for SG-1 as the Misfits side must group and see if they can post a defense, but they're going to have to push a little bit further forward to try to slow this down. They don't want to let that payload reach all the way towards the end there, although it is quite hard to finish on this map.
Yep, that's true. There's a lot of crossfire on the last point, right? So you can get hit by multiple angles. There comes a sound barrier on the side of SG-1. Players now, oh wow, I think that was a little bit of a whiff, unfortunately, on the Earth Shadow there from Reinhardt. Not the best in the world. Fraggy, though, staying alive, trying to get his shields up. He gets taken out by Sata. Misfits currently 4 people alive to only 2 from SG-1 that are with the payload. And this looks like it will actually be a defense.
Yeah, SG-1 getting a lot done with the Graviton Surge and the Transcendence there. But Misfits are holding at the moment.
I think that was another fight where towards the beginning, again, you don't notice it so much because it doesn't like have some sort of big visual presence on your screen, but Nevix actually planted the ultimate for Ana down more or less on top of the payload. And the best way to tell that, if you're watching this at home and you're looking at it from another angle, is to check and see if Sata is actually having a good healing effect on the rest of the team, because the moment that gets negated and you've started a team fight, SG-1 a position where they go, uh-oh, we have to fight anyway, that's when you get advantage Misfits.
You see SG-1 are trying to work their way around the side there. They're throwing in the self-destructs as well from Misfits to try to just keep things in control on the payload. Really smart, buying a lot of time, and they're pushing it all the way back right now as SG-1 are pushed against their spawn, trying to move things forwards, but can't quite find good engagements or ways to synergize to actually break the defense from that big choke point. And things just looking increasingly difficult right now. See if they can do some more damage here. Zafri, a nice little shot there, able to get another frag as Misfits keep defending, keep picking players off in a forward manner.
Yeah, and right now, I think to give you guys an example of how difficult this might actually be for SG-1. Let's take a look at Marfu, for instance. Shielding an individual player can often be difficult because on Misfit, they've got heroes like Zapre on McCree, where if you see a bubble, actually, because of the non-nerf, rather the buff to the damage drop off on left click, you're able to shift your target and still do just as much damage. So it can be a little bit tricky. We also haven't seen quite as much of a Genji show, but Crew is doing his best to change that. Unfortunately, not getting any kills off before getting whiffed by the Earth Shatter as well. Do we have Himsy on his ultimate as well? We do, but at the moment he's brandishing a knife with, looks like, no intention to use it.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate there for Crew. Great position, but I don't know how he didn't even get any frags there, but you can see D.Va once again providing quite the annoying presence on the payload. We get the Graviton Surge going in there, and we have the overtime ticking away, but it does look like Misfits are all over this one, and they will secure it.
Wow, and after how convincing, to be honest, the play from SG-1 was, I'm just remembering the full hold followed by the very, very quick take on Hollywood.
Yeah.
That to me looked like a statement of intent from SG-1 that said, haha, don't write us off, we can smash you if we felt like it. And I have to say, they looked very, very vulnerable here.
Yeah, they really did. Only getting 113, I think, 0.6 meters there. So let's see how that one goes.
That's on the first checkpoint. So if anyone's wondering, hang on, we've seen payloads closer to the end where it was 50 meters. That's because the payload distance marker resets when you hit the next checkpoint.
Yeah, I mean, do you feel like Misfits are going to be able to just close this one down? Do you think there's a difference between the offense or defense of these teams? Or is it pretty much up in the air?
I am very surprised. I think... even if they did hold, I was expecting them to hold sort of at the death, at the last push. I wasn't expecting them to hold out in the open like that. I would say I really, really liked the Ana play on King's Row. I think Nevix, if I had some doubts about Nevix on Hollywood, I have zero doubts about Nevix on King's Row. I thought every ultimate usage, and I was also looking at the players' health bars during the team fights, was very well timed, and it was only used after SG-1 committed to fights as well, so they basically had to go in and do it, and as a result, I'm very, very pleased with how that panned out for Misfits.
So we're going to see pretty much as well the same setup on the old heroes.
Sentry deployed.
And we're about to get the attack commencing soon, and there's really a lot for SG-1 to do here. I mean, 113.6. I mean, it feels like they should have been able to do a lot more there, but they just couldn't break that final checkpoint. And this just did really, really well to just continually push it back and start pushing their spawn.
Yep.
And I know that like when you feel that you're getting pushed off your spawn like that, you can never group up properly. It's very hard to deal with, to be honest.
So my prediction here is that if Misfits are able to take the first point, they will win. If SG-1 wins this on King's Road, they will win it by holding them on the first point. I feel like the moment you get any sort of momentum with this Misfits team, they will absolutely be able to rush to the second point.
They're trying to move in right now, but of course it is early days. No ultimates at play just yet, but maybe they aren't going to be required because we are getting some frags coming in here. Trades though, and SG-1 able to get a positive situation, just getting 2 kills for 1, which is a good trade, but is that where it ends here? We still have a bit of a contest. The Misfits now thinking of backing off a little bit, regrouping with the full numbers to go for the assault. And as far as the ultimate charges being built from both sides, looks pretty even at the moment with Zappis on McCree, High Noon. That's going to be very useful there for SG-1 in such an open space.
We also just saw another one of the abilities from Nevix, the Sleep Dart coming in. And that's actually one of the most tricky skills in the game to use because it's really effective as long as nobody else deals damage to the player that's asleep. So the amount of communication with your team to say, just got this guy with the Sleep Dart, and to have everyone hold off and say, cool, for 5 or 6 seconds we're playing 5v6, very, very difficult to pull off. But I thought Nevix did that extremely well.
That was a beautiful charge there from the Reinhardt of SG-1 to try to eliminate the ultimate that was popping mana onto the Reinhardt of Misfits, who were trying to break this point. So that was the play. They managed to disable the play just as it was happening, and that's when you got to do it. So really fast stuff there, and it looks like due to that fact, SG-1 with the impeccable timing will actually hold on against a couple of ultimates being popped there. But there are more. Still Zapri on McCree and Crew with Genji, as well as some Transcendence available. So still Misfits very dangerous.
Very, very critical that they're able to hold at this first point. I honestly feel like if this first point gets taken, then SG-1 are in so much trouble. They need to stay strong. Here comes Crew, though. He's looking to use the ultimate. And look, again, waiting for the ultimate, using Graviton Surge. That basically nullifies the effect of Genji there. So well played. Okay, Marku goes down, but that could have been so much worse.
Right now, SG-1 are doing a really good job, to be honest. MISFITS struggling to find a way to push onto this point. Every time they try to make a play, immediately SG-1 either know what's going on, they've set up for it, or they just have a very smart and fast reaction, or just having the right ultimates at the right time. But how long can they keep that up? They've got a minute and a half to play with to keep hold of this point, and that was the win condition set out by John to my side, so maybe they'll make it happen. We've got another push coming in, and as far as ultimates goes for MISFITS, they've only got Nevix on an ultimate.
Yeah, I think MISFITS here will be just looking to patiently build up their ultimates. They don't mind if they lose this team fight, as long as they build up a big percentage, because they've got a minute 12 left to go, right, to catch the first point. I feel like they need to save that up, and then their next push will be much stronger. But it feels like they're committing quite a bit to this. They've used the only ultimate they have. Zapre and Crew are both close to getting their ultimates again, at least. But it looks like they won't even need to use it. They will finally take the point here.
Absolutely. So finally is the right word. I think they were starting to feel a bit strained. As you said, I agree with you there. It did look like maybe they were rushing it a little bit. But
it makes more sense to have it save up, but I guess if you know you can win the fight without, then great. It's just really tough to know before the start of the engagement.
And you don't want to leave yourself without enough time when you finally do have the ultimate. So I'm definitely with you there. But they've managed to do it, and they're starting to push the payload again. I think it was 113.64 meters. Is what they need to beat, and that should be quite doable, even with a limited amount of time on this map. And here is the push coming in, and it looks like SG-1 are looking to post the defense here. It's the meandering road, and there goes the charges. We've got Genji in the back line trying to disable Zenyatta, and also he pops the ult here. He's going to catch Zarya off, who's also got maximum charge, but Zarya will get the frag. They're very important.
This is a tricky situation to be in. I feel like SG-1 might be able to do it here. I was always mentioning about the fact that if they got past the first point, they should do reasonably well. So Fraggy now defending. If you take a look at the equivalent players, for example, I think MISFITS have just edged this. I feel like Crew has had a slightly better game on Genji than Himsy. I feel like Skipjack has had a slightly better game on Reinhardt than Fraggy. And it's just like a sum of many little things that is convincing me that this payload will get to 113.64.
Game of inches, and we got the self-destruct there coming in from D.Va to clear some room, and MISFITS are going to be trying to make the push here. We get the Earth Shadow coming in, Fraggy going to work there with the charge as well. Good combinations coming in from SG-1 to just smash this offense, and it looks like MISFITS are all dead. They have wiped. That's a great play from SG-1.
That was critical, actually. That was all down to Sata and Fraggy. Using the Earth Shatter and then the Sound Barrier in that order, and finally finishing it up with a charge that killed both Skipjack and Crew. Took out two of the most important people in the front lines there of MISFITS. So that was really good play from two members of SG-1 in particular, and that's giving them a couple of rays of hope right now, but still a minute 45 to push the payload to that point.
And we do have the Lucio speed boost coming in to try to get Reinhardt into a position so they can try to break this finally, as time is starting to run low. The Graviton Surge is ready on Mafu. He's got some decent charge. He's going to decide to pop that one. He's going to have to wait for the perfect moment, trying to get through the shield to pop the Graviton Surge. And that is a great Graviton Surge, but I don't know if there's anyone behind the lines to do the damage, though. It's just going to disable them and buy some extra time, but time is definitely very valuable. They'll probably be happy with that. Still keeping the attack pressed as well with high charge. Still, massive problems for MISFITS.
Yeah, they were kind of playing 5v4 anyway during that attack, so it wasn't too much of a problem. For the next attack, Nevix will have the ultimate again, so very keen to see how Anna will make or break this fight. I have to say, though, Mafu has had an excellent game on King's Row on the second point with Zarya, so we do need to see a very nice ultimate. Nevix has just popped that, by the way. You can see those purple lines at the edge of your screens, basically meaning that there's enhanced damage, reduced damage intake, and that's actually allowed MISFITS to put very, very far indeed. The payload is very close to being parked once again. Not that awkwardly, though. At least it's a bit more square.
Oh, yeah, and his Crew was going a bit savage there.
That's a 9 out of 10. That is solid parking right there. It wasn't skewed. And MISFITS win the third map. They are going to take it 2 games to 1.
That was close, though. I mean, SG-1 were putting in some solid plays there. You can see Himsy's going to get that point of the match. See what he was able to accomplish there. Of course, again, we're seeing so much awesome work here from the Genjis today. And there you can see Genji just cleaning house.
There weren't that many Genji moments in the last best of 3, though, were there? That was like one of maybe 3 epic Genji moments, whereas I feel like...
Cypher, isn't it?
Yeah, with Anox, it was like, yeah, every 30 seconds is basically another play of the game.
We should probably just have Cypher Cam.
Cypher Cam. It was more or less that. So very, very well played there. And I think actually that was a good demonstration of when Nevix has the ultimate available and you use Ana in the right way, nailed it. But when Ana wasn't actually out there, and when Mafu in particular was having an excellent game on Zarya, that was the point where, hang on a second, Ana isn't actually being as effective here. So that was night and day, those last two pushes from Misfits.
Oh yeah, it was such a big difference, and it's quite cool. I mean, you're trying to be a bit prophetic there earlier in the broadcast with your Ana predictions, how things might change, and we did get a bit of a taste of some Ana gameplay. Was this the result that did you really expect it to go down in this way? Did anything deviate from your expectations?
I think it felt a little bit inconsistent. Ana, very strong on the first map, not so strong on the second map, finished on a really strong note on King's Row. And then, when you actually got onto King's Row as well, the last two fights, Ana, no ultimate, a little bit in the back, a little bit anonymous, team wipe. Ana, with ultimates available, in the correct position to support the team, pushed all the way through.
And just running with this Ana discussion, I want to start, open the forum for discussion around the speed at which she got it on Hollywood. Did you see that? Like, I mean, that was for the first push within opening, what was it, minute, 2 minutes? We already had an Ana ultimate available, and one of the few things you said, John, in our pre-match was it takes a long time to charge. Can you understand? Did you get your head around how she charged it so quickly? Was everyone just taking damage? And I couldn't comprehend it.
So if everyone is constantly taking damage and the darts are constantly healing your allies, that's great. I don't think Ana was really in the front lines very much on Hollywood, so it wasn't like there was a lot of damage being dealt to the enemies. So very specifically, the damage was really spread out, and that actually allowed Ana to get that a lot faster.
So you've seen her play, Dan. What's your opinion? What are you thinking? The Ana vibes. What are you picking up?
I think it's still early days. Because I'm still of the the belief that it's all about the meta game, right? I mean, you can do something, it can be really effective, and sometimes you can get something that's very effective, and it becomes, well, this is just generally quite good. With the Ana situation, there may be ways to actually disable Ana that teams will discover because again, if Ana becomes a hero that is a must pick because it's being so successful, people will have to find a way to counter it, and then we might see a spot where it's not easily counterable.
So let's brainstorm. Her weaknesses: lack of mobility. How would you exploit a healer with lack of mobility? I mean, I'm looking at you, John. Come on, you're a smart man. He was playing poker while we had conversations earlier on today.
Easy peasy. And that's poker, not Pokemon, just to clarify.
Yes,
yeah,
there you go. Different game.
I mean, we've seen a lot of Genji today.
A successful Genji as well.
Here's the problem, though. Genji is combining very well with Zenyatta. This is not the I'm going to sneak round back and catch you where the sun don't shine Genji. This is in your face. I'm loving having the orbs around me. I can hide behind a shield where I want to. I'm getting healed Genji. So it's very different, and having an assassin that can kind of sneak up behind and really abuse the lack of mobility of Ana would be key.
Is this reliance on Genji new?
No, it's not necessarily reliant on Genji. In fact, one of the things I would love to see, but that's because I'm always a big fan of Respect the Rat, is to find a way, like on maps like Dorado, for example, to just go, let's pick a hero to make way and get Junkrat back into the meta. Because one of the things that the current metagame has allowed us to do, we don't have Mercies very much anymore, who stand quite far away from the fight. Ana's actually quite immobile. If we see her as the support behind the team, it means the team's a little bit more clumped up than usual. I'd love to see the Rat back. I just want to see some indiscriminate damage.
Dude, it's filthy in the right hands as well, Junkrat. I mean, I remember way back when, in the world of Team Fortress, when Demo Man was just the most ridiculous. You were putting your hands together. I always get flashbacks when I see a good Junkrat.
What was the ammunition grenade that engineers had in TF 1.5, TFC?
TFC ammunition. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know the one that like larger explosions, the more ammo that's in the vicinity.
Oh my god.
I was that guy. Hi.
So basically, what we've learned today is John is filthy. Absolutely disgusting.
I am also Australian, so that's one more thing I share with Junkrat.
Damn. Okay. Well, we're learning a lot about everyone today.
I want to see the cosplays. Just go all the way.
We could do that.
Next week?
Actually, okay.
I'd have to go topless, but with like the grenades across.
And style your hair a bit. Maybe we can get some hair dye.
Okay, maybe I'm gonna have to just nip this one in the bud. I'm
you guys were already dressing up. Like this was completely unintentional.
You're a diva, right?
Just showed up in black shirts. I'm breaking the mold with a slightly off black navy. Right, gentlemen, we're going to be talking more about Overwatch in just a tickety-boo. That's Europe done and dusted. We're going to be seeing more of that, of course, next week. For now, though, we get to see North America. That's going to be kicking off in, let me check my watch, about 55 minutes time before North America does kick off. And so you can go ahead, grab a cup of tea if you're in England, grab a cup of Joe if you're not, if you're North American. Do they say Joe? Cup of Joe? That's coffee,
Cup of Joe is American. Yeah.
There you go.
And if you're anywhere else, grab a cup of something. And
Orange juice. We're non-discriminant here. Any sort of beverage, grab one. In 50 minutes' time, we'll be back with more Overwatch, and it's this time the North American region, so do stay tuned.